Greetings. I am Dr. Noni Davis, and I'm coming to you from Sya Academy here in Durham, North Carolina, an African Center School, focused on educating the African American children in our community, ensuring that they have a safe space to learn, and also to just blossom and become who the Creator made them. The talents and the practicing and using the gifts that they were endowed with. And I just give thanks to my parents, my mother, Sylvia Davis, and my father, the late William Edward Davis, who I, who all three of us together, brought this vision of an African Center School into fruition. And so I just give thanks to them. Um, so today, I was looking once again at some events that happened in July, Black History events, and I was intrigued about that Cuba. This month was the month that Cuba won its revolution for freedom, and this happened in 1959. And of course, I'm also intrigued by this relationship, this constant nagging that America engages in with Cuba. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is America so obsessed with Cuba? And so I said, well, let me just go ahead and do some research. And so here we are. So everybody knows Cuba was an island, of course, is an island that was once inhabited by indigenous people. And according to the research, 1000 BC is when the first occupation of the Siboney Neys, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's Ciboneyes people um, came to the island. And they were there for about 2,000 years until occupying a third of the island. They were just that was all they occupied. But then the Arawak and Taino people came to the island, and around 1050, and between 1050 or 1050 and 1450 AD. And these groups, apparently they were able to live harmoniously on the island. And then came the devil. His name was Chris. They called him Cristobal Colon, and we call him Christopher Columbus. Anyway, and so he arrived in 1508, and all hell broke loose. So that's why I call him the devil. And Cuba was under Spanish rule for 500 years. So they went from 1,000 years BC, 1,000 years what they said, 1,000 BC to 1,080, and then mm, 1500s. Here we go with these folks. Um, so Cuba began its struggle for liberation. So the Spanish, okay, they were under Spanish rule for 500 years, and the Spanish were just like these, everybody else, raping, murder, killing, stealing, all because they believe that God gave them the right. Never mind, there are no white people in the Bible. Never mind, there are no Europeans. I think maybe the Greeks are at the end, but even the Greeks were not considered white at that time. They would have been considered brown people. And then, the whole thing, all of the earliest, the first half of the Bible, or the first three-fourths of the Bible, happened in Palestine and all over the Asia and in Africa. So we're like, what are we doing here? Uh, Anywho, Europeans are under the delusion that they are supreme and that God has given them some kind of right when, like I said, they're not even a part of this biblical history that they think that they are proclaiming Christian. They were not, and they're not practicing it either. What they're practicing is some demonic evil stuff. But anyway, I digress. So it took Cuba, what, 350 years to gather enough momentum for this revolution that they needed, their struggle for revolution. And so the first person that initiated this was in 1868, I think, that Carlos Manuel de Caspeles initiated the first war against Spain in 1868. And I forgot to pull up these pictures of this guy. What's his name? Carlos Manuel Cespedes. All right, so this guy was the first person to initiate the war, and it was a 10-year war, but it was a stalemate because until this guy, I'm black guy. Well, this guy was an African, Antonio. You see how I know his name, Antonio uh, Maceo, um, came to the forefront, and that's him. And they called him the. He was called the Bronze. What was his nickname? The bronze. Oh, I can't find it. Anyway, so this guy, Antonio Maceo, became a leader of a racial equality and the end of slavery. So in 1895, after several decades of war, the Spanish finally did release Cuba to the USA. But I just wanted to go back and do a little bit more history. So Jose Marti was an apostle of Cuban independence, and Cubans continued to rebel against post-colonial rule under Fulgencio Batista. Um, and then you have Fidel Castro. He was the leader of this rebellion. We know about Fidel Castro, and he eventually transitioned, but he was imprisoned for a 1953 attack on the Moncada barracks. Okay, and he requested books by this guy named Jose Marti to build his defense for freedom. But he was refused. But anyway, they said that even with that, he was able to, when he went to court, he was able to use all of these arguments that this guy Jose Marti had written by from memory, and that was how he was able to get released. Um, and maybe it was because of a famous quote of Marti. And I love this, and I think all black people should know this quote and keep it in our back pocket. You take your rights. You do not beg for them. You do not buy them with tears, but with blood. Okay, I love that for him. But anyway, back to so these all of these guys. This guy Chris Manuel de Spedes, this guy Antonio Maceo, and this other guy Jose Marti were are considered the revolutionary fighters for Cuba. All right. So Antonio Mesa was just amazing. He was the one, of course, like I said, who was an African Latino. He was born. He was a let's see, born in Venezuela. No, he was born in Cuba, but his parents were from Venezuela. Um, he was nicknamed the Bronze Titan because of his African heritage. Um, they said he fought in several he used guerrilla tactics, warfare tactics. So instead of going and engaging in these large scale fights, he practiced the African way of knowing. And he said, okay, I'm gonna attack your farms. And so he was burning down rice fields, sugarcane fields, um, and hitting them economically. And they said he would destroy telegraph poles so that they could not maintain communication between the cities. He would interrupt commercial activity by attacking, you know, um, you know, bus loads or train loads of products between cities. He would find ways to disrupt those. They said he destroyed sugar mills as well. So he just attacked the commerce, and because uh, he was determined to just destroy the economy, basically, which is what we're trying to do as African Americans today, trying to find a way to disrupt, Target boycotting Walmart, and boycotting other, these large businesses, and trying to support small businesses. This was a tactic that this guy Antonio Marcio was doing. Except he was actually burning stuff down, but he was a lieutenant general in this army, and the only thing that was wrong was that he was also pro freedom. He wanted to end enslavement immediately. And so this was another interesting thing, because in the 18 Africans had been in America were freed in the 1860s. In 1878, 1895, there was still enslavement in Cuba. And one of the things that alarmed the Spanish colonizers was that, wait a minute, if we let him uh, come up in here with this free these black people thing, we're gonna have another Haitian Revolution situation on our hands, and we don't want these black people, after they get their freedom, to come and kill all of us like the Haitians did. We're having Haiti. We don't want to hate. I repeat. So what they started doing is spreading lies about him, and saying that Mr. Maceo was up here trying to, he wanted to kill all the white people, and he was going to do the same thing in Haiti, and that, and just spread a whole bunch of lies about him, to undermine what his goal was, because he was like, I want every Cuban, black, white, indigenous freed. I want an equitable society, and I'm not going to step away from that. I'm going to stand my ground on that. And so, um, and he was going around, if he when he got to those slave mills, when he burned down those crops, and those sugar cane crops, he would gather the people who were working on those plantations and working on in those sugar mills, and have them join, and these were Africans. So he was building an African army, and so I understand why the white folks were concerned, but just in slavery. But they wanted to do this gradual freedom mess, and it's like, we not gonna do that. And so this gradual emancipation, and so they feared that an African-led rebellion would be the repeat of the Haitian Revolution. But this, makes you say, yeah, I don't care what y'all think. I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing. And so he said it has to include freedom for everybody. So, and this was still 1898, and Cuba was not free. 1898 is when I think they finally got their freedom. However, what happened, instead of they got their freedom from Spain. Now they were turned over to the United States. I don't know how I missed that. I said I did not realize that um, Cuba, as they would say, was under the rule of the United States. Um, so Cuba was finally forced, and it was occupied by the U.S. military. So the U.S. military went in there, and they kicked Spain out, but then they took over. That was 1898. By 1901, what is that? 3 years later, or 1902, 4 years later, Cuba managed to kick the U.S. military out as well. So the United States had 4 years of control over Cuba, four or less. And so I'm like, oh, maybe this is what's going on with America. This is why America is so obsessed. Each president, I think Barack Obama was the first one to try to like not be so ridiculous with them. But every white president since 1902 has been tripping off of Cuba. And so it's important because you see that this little tiny little island, not only did they kick the Spanish out, but they turned right around and kicked the Americans out. Huh. Cuba is bad. And so for a short period of time, so between 1902 and I think in 1950s, they did have these puppets, just like in Africa, you had these, Kwame Nkrumah was probably one of the few, you had Thomas Sankara, you had Patrice Lumumba, who came in ready to really make their countries free. You have these guys in Cuba, like Batista, who came in and decided to um, uh, become puppets. So they still were acquiescing to Spain, acquiescing even in Africa, acquiescing to whatever the European power was, um, and also bankrupting their country. So they were very corrupt, and so this is what happened. So you had this guy Batista. He staged a coup to gain control over the government. Eventually, he failed, and Fidel Castro eventually was able to regain control of Cuba, but not before Batista and his criminal associates stole over $300 million from the Cuban government. And they moved to Spain. And they said that this man had a very elaborate, beautiful homes in Spain. And he took about 100 of his staff with him. And so now, when I saw this, I said, "Well, I'm gonna pray that Mister our government, our current administration, will never successfully escape the United States, and in fact suffer and be punished for their crimes, the theft of American tax dollars." So because y'all ain't taking all that money they've stolen from us. We gonna get it back. That's what I'm claiming. They got to return it. But what I learned from this history is, one, America's obsession with Cuba is rooted in resentment. European Americans, European Americans and the French and the Spanish and the British and the Dutch and the Belgians and Germans and whoever, wherever, they are so immersed in their fight for their fairy tale narratives of white supremacy, like the absolute power over everyone who is not white, and that they become mentally ill and engaged in acts of carnage and depravity and destruction when that fairy tale is challenged and proven wrong. And so, they've decided we don't deserve this, and you black, and you don't deserve that, and we're the only ones. We decide who's free. We decide what everybody can do. We decide that you are the lowest, and so therefore you can't read and you can't write. And then they find out, oh yeah, we can't read and write, and you don't deserve to be free. And we're gonna decide when you're free. And then they find out that people are like, well, I'm gonna decide when I'm free, and I want to be free right now, so we will fight you. And so it's insane. And so I decided to look at, I've talked about Cuba. Cuba has some of the best colleges in the country. um, Cuba has 95% per thousand people, with the highest, let's see, uh, oh, they have more physicians per thousand people. So they have 9.5 physicians per 1,000 people, which is the highest, higher than any other country. So you have more doctors per 1,000 people. I was like, oh, and their medical system is ranked worldwide. Everybody knows it's internationally superior to most Europe, Western countries. Prior to Trump's dumb policies, Cuban had a life expectancy of 71 to 76 years of age, and this is a poor country. The average person has 11.8 years of education. Think about that. This little country has 11.8 years of education, while America has 13.8 years of education. So when you consider how wealthy the United States is, we're supposed to be the wealthiest country in the world. Where in the average American, they said 54% of Americans are reading below a sixth grade level and 20% below fifth grade level. 45 million of Americans, 45 million of Americans are illiterate. That's crazy. So that means out of we're like what, 330 million people. Four into three, 33, four times what, eight is 32. No, 30, yeah, 32. So that means that we have a really high percentage of people who cannot read. That is too high, considering our wealth. Illiteracy is such a serious problem in America that they said 130 million people, or one third of our population, or over one third, because it's 330 million, right? So 130 million is a little over one third of our population of adults are incapable of reading a simple story to our children. Yet America A engages in constant struggles. We are fighting with Cuba, who is better off than we are. When we leave them alone, they do better than we do. Um, we're in Iran was doing better without us involved. Uh, we have all of these messing with Venezuela, messing with trying to threaten Mexico, messing with Canada, and just and letting Israel, you know, tell us what to do. We are really in trouble as a country because we come we are, instead of trying to build our internal issues, we are out here bothering people who we think are inferior to us when we are really inferior to them, when you consider the resources we have compared to the resources they have. We are rich but stupid. Rich but stupid. And so what, and then we have to redefine what is wealth. So, and then I looked at, we have all these universities. And this is crazy too. And I think a lot of people might not think, well, it's higher than this other group. But they said PWIs, predominantly white institutions, 61%, only 61% of people graduate from these, have a 61% college graduation rate in 2025. Now, HBCUs have an average graduation rate of 44%, but we ain't got no money. We do not, when you consider the resources that PWIs have, and they got a 61% graduation rate, and these HBCUs are only about 20% below them, with significantly less resources, significantly less monies pouring in, um, uh, significantly fewer staff members and access to technology, that PWIs are only graduating with a 61% college graduation rate is ridiculous. And this is a small percentage of the people who actually go to school. It's insane. So we're wasting time and money on resources fighting Cuba, fighting Venezuela, fighting Iran, fighting with Mexico and Canada, and we sit here not being able to meet the basic needs of our country and doing what we can to uplift our country. So that's enough of that. So I wanted to go ahead and at least close out with SNCC. So, and also the Black Power movement. So I did not realize that the term Black Power was created in 1966. I knew it was by Kwame Ture, but I forgot that. I read that in Where Do We Go From Here by Dr. King, Chaos and Community. But yes, the Black Power movement started in July 1966, and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee was formed in 1960. I thought that was amazing. And so, um, SNCC is the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. It was formed July 1960, and what makes it so unique is that it was formed by young people. It is the only national civil rights organization led by young people. And so I know most of these people were in their 20s, early 20s. Now, they did have an elder, and that was Ella Baker. Ella Baker was, let me see if I can pull up Miss Ella Baker. Baker, she was a phenomenal lady. So that's Miss Ella Baker right there. And she was their mentor. So she was the elder, the Jegna, that helped them to organize SNCC. Okay, SNCC, original organizer, original members. Here's a picture, images, uh, nonviolent community. Okay, so that's them. And look at all the men, they tripping. And so original members, but this is another one, and this has the women involved. So there they go. So it was they worked with grassroots organizations and leaders in those communities to organize voter registration to stimulate voter registration in the South. And SNCC, which is the abbreviation for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, was a force that served uh, to uh, that seemed to come out of nowhere. And so they said it was that way because they're like, oh, they were not expecting. It was unexpected. They're like, 1 minute they were, doing these protests, and then finally all of them came together and created this organization. And white folks were not ready for it, and even black people weren't ready for it, and they did not understand how successful it would be. And so I thought this was a really cool fact. On February 16th, 1960, Dr. King, who was in that picture, spoke at White Rock Baptist Church right here in Durham, North Carolina, and acknowledged the importance of young people engaging in civil matters. So, and this is a quote from him. He said, "What is new in your fight is the fact that it was initiated, fed, and sustained by students." So these were college students. Some of them were high school students. Some of them were people who had graduated from high school. I think John Lewis was in there. Let's see, what was the other picture? I can't. They don't have the names of the people in there, but even in this picture, Dr. King was young. I think was he 30? I don't even think he was 30. He was like 29 or something like that. So, but they these folks were young, they were purposeful, and we can see that is the momentum that is happening now. We have a lot of young people who are going to end up leading this rebellion against this current administration. Um, and we need to, as an elder, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Whatever support I can offer, I am here for it. And We need to just be ready, but we need to understand that this fight against other people is just it, it's just insane. And one of the things we have to change is the focus of America. America needs to be focused on its people, raising up its people. This is not a white country. This is a country where the of indigenous people, and the invasion of their lands, and no one is an immigrant on stolen land. Anybody who's here is here. Um, Ashe, Asheo. Uh-oh.
Another great show and everything like that. I just saw before I get ready to end, I just saw that there was some major news that involved Durham, North Carolina. Apparently, we got some severe food insecurity, and they just opened up a new center and everything like that here in the Durham area. I'm not sure if it's the city or the county, but I
Yeah.
was that they just opened that because apparently, in the midst of all of this need to get food and to survive, I know a lot of the churches are making food available to people that are some of it is
Hmm.
homegrown and from the various farms around the community and everything like that. But I did see that they just recently opened up a new center here because we've got food insecurity not just here in North Carolina but in various parts of the country and probably various parts of the world as well. But I just saw that, so I thought I'd let your audience know that they've just
Yeah.
opened up a new center because we've got a hunger crisis here in Durham, North Carolina, as well as in other parts of the world as well.
Uh-huh. It doesn't make any sense. I have students right here that I was like, "Where's your lunch?" They don't have one. I'm like, "What?" Okay. We're making sure that our people eat. We're not playing that game. We're making sure our kids eat. And so I have no problem going up in my refrigerator making a sandwich or something. We cannot let folks go hungry. We cannot. They got to have a meal, even if it's the only just with you. What are we doing? Letting people go hungry? It's crazy.
That makes no sense. And we're supposed to be the one of the greatest countries in the world and
I,
everything like that.
I wish they would
So,
stop saying that. I wish they would stop telling that lie. It's a lie.
yeah, but the
I
article I
just
saw said that because it just came down earlier this afternoon, but it says a new Durham Hunger Center. I'm pulling it up.
That's
Everything open that
crazy.
food insecurity rises, SNAP benefits lost across North Carolina, and everything like that. So as grocery prices continue to climb and millions of Americans lose access to federal food assistance, local leaders are expanding efforts to address growing hunger across North Carolina. So the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina opened a new food line Feeds Hunger Solution Center on Tuesday afternoon. So that was earlier this afternoon. So community leaders, volunteers, and food line representatives were in attendance to celebrate the new 64,000 square foot food distribution facility Park
Ooh.
on Hamlin Road. Leaders said it will help reduce hunger and expand access to fresh food for families in need. So Iris Jones, director of the Timberlake Community Center Food Pantry, said more families are seeking food assistance as grocery prices remain high and supplemental nutrition SNAP assistance program SNAP benefits change. So the supplemental nutrition assistance program is what SNAP stands for. We have currently anywhere from 6 to 1,000 visitors per month at our location. She said everyone is just very grateful for what we've been able to provide them with. And she joined community leaders, this Jones woman did, and volunteers for a ribbon cutting ceremony marking the opening of a new facility. So looks like it's definitely being addressing a major need, but the fact that we've got to do this. So the center was made possible in part through a $1 million investment from Food Line Feeds, the grocery retailer's hunger relief platform. So communities are facing the worst hunger crisis that we've seen in at least a generation, if not more, said Jason Kanwati Stephanie, the Food Bank of Central Eastern North Carolina representative. So nearly 97,000 people, can you believe that, across the
It's
6 county
crazy.
region served by the Durham brand do not know where their next meal will come from. Is what
Yes,
that's
I
one
believe it.
out of every six neighbors that you and I run into at the grocery store or out pumping gas is what Jason Stephanie said. So one of the center's biggest advantages will be its ability to handle fresher, locally grown food. So definitely, that's just crazy because just really quickly, I know you got to wrap up, but it says according to a recent analysis by the Nonpartisan Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, an estimated 4 million Americans lost SNAP benefits between July 2025 and April 2026, including roughly 1 million children in 19 states with available data. So that's
Yeah.
1 million children that are suffering from
and
this.
and it's crazy because you really, even if you, they not only did they reduce, like you said in that report, not only did they reduce the SNAP benefits, but the cost of the food went up. So
Right,
that $500 that you were using, now you only got 250, and the amount of groceries you're paying for 250 is now less. That 250 is less, significantly less than what it cost before. So that 250 now buys maybe 5 bags of groceries, where
right,
before that 250 would have bought 10 bags of groceries.
right,
So he cut the 500. So now you can't even buy all the groceries you need. You need 20 bags of groceries a month. You can't even buy 10 now because it's only five. It's outrageous.
it's
It's
totally
so
outrageous.
outrageous. And I just, I'm just waiting for somebody. Come on, y'all. Somebody got to go help us out. Somebody got to help us out.
We did get some good news for the school workers because yesterday they said Durham school workers are finally getting raises. They did say that the Durham DAE, which I think is the education union, is not totally happy, but they did get a raise. But it sounds like they are somewhat disappointed. But the Durham Public School Board of Education voted 4-3 to approve the 2026-27 classified salary schedules, boosting the district's minimum wage to 18.22 an hour, a 6.2 increase from 17.15, and the raises are retroactive to July 1st and will be reflected in the employees' July paychecks this week. So for classified staff like bus drivers, teaching assistants, and administrative workers, the 1822 minimum hourly minimum provides a monthly salary of $3,158.13 for full-time employees. And the district also implemented a progressive pay model designed to give the largest percentage increase to newer employees while adjusting the scale for veterans to prevent wage compression, according to the chief finance officer for the school district,
Okay.
Jeremy Teeter. But it looks like they approved some raises, but that still doesn't sound like enough because that's still, like you
What
said,
is your mortgage? Where are we gonna live? Where are we gonna live? You're gonna have 3 people living in your house making $3,000 each to pay for the mortgage. Because damn, the mortgage is 13, 12. If you make it $3,000 a month, and we ain't even got the taxes yet, because
yeah,
these assholes are taking 20% of your damn money in taxes.
it takes
Oh,
like
it
the
makes
rest.
me so mad. And then, your utilities in America, you got to pay for everything. We got to pay for water, gas, electricity, car insurance. Damn it. Health insurance, all this stuff. You ain't got no money at the end of the year.
No money at all. People are like,
None. And then
people are,
$18 and 20, 18. Oh my God.
yeah, that's
You
just
know, I, Lord have mercy. I'm so outraged. And some of these people are doing these jobs with college degrees because they
oh
can't get
yeah.
nothing else.
I
What
mean,
would
because
you?
that's what they require to work in measurement. It's been required forever, and everything is that you have to have a college degree, even though a lot of it is just having rote memory and stuff like that. So it's not overly complicated work and everything like that. But it does require a college degree to do the end of the year testing, and definitely all along those lines. But yeah, some of the folks use it as a stepping stone to get to a better job. But yeah, these salaries are getting ridiculously they're just
Low.
getting ridiculous for what is needed in this particular economy and everything like that. And
Yeah.
first,
And they raise our property taxes. So I'm like, you better pay. They better go to somebody because
yeah,
my mortgage went up $400.
wow, your mortgage went
Four
up.
hundred, $400 a month.
That's crazy. The mortgage went up.
I mean, what in the world? And I'm at the end, so I'm like, wait, y'all trying to kill me at the end? I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I need to be finished with this.
Yeah,
And this is how we doing it. This is how we doing it at the end. It's crazy.
it is
But
totally
I
crazy.
tell you, I mean, if we don't get this person out of office, if these people don't rise up, and black people have done enough. We have sacrificed our lives, and they trying to come after us, even when we ain't doing that. We
Ain't
ain't
doing
even
nothing.
doing that, and they coming
Nah, but
after
they're going by thinking that he's going to help them. And I did hear that some of them are even getting upset, particularly at this war in Iran and some other things. So he's losing some support, but hopefully it will possibly hurt him in the midterms and all along those lines. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out
and
because
Mitch need to die. We didn't know that we were gonna be blessed with Lady Graham, but thank God. And now we just need a trifecta.
yeah, because Mitch is claiming he's still all right, even though he's been in that center for a while and
But have
nobody.
you heard him? Have you heard it from his mouth?
I've not heard it from his
Have
mouth.
you heard it from?
I've not
Have
heard
you
it from his
seen
mouth.
him?
Yeah, nobody's seen him in like 45 days.
We
He's up
wants to
disappearing
see
now.
him, and we wants to see him. They said that there. I saw something that said we. He has not spoken. They said there's no record. Oh, one lady said she went to the hospital. That's what it was, and she said she happened to be there. She had to do something there. She said, "Oh, let me go see where Mitch McConnell is." She said she was on every single floor in that hospital. She said I was able to access every single floor. She said I saw no security, no FBI, no what do they call them? Their security guards, nothing on any floor in that hospital. She said he is not there.
Yeah, he's not there. He's hiding.
He's in the morgue.
Could be. So either that or he's hiding somewhere.
Something is up.
Yeah, it's very
Because
suspicious.
why would a wife leave her husband in critical condition
Hmm.
and go to another continent?
Go to another
They
country.
went to make a plan.
Way to make a plan. Yeah, but got all kinds of crazy things going on. You'll get a kick out of this, and then we'll get ready to wrap up. But I did see that there were some celebrities that were in town in Raleigh. I know we're here both here in Durham, but
Uh
I
huh.
was watching and I saw that I think he was here because Guns N' Roses was in town and Public Enemy was opening for him. So at one of our local restaurants, Flavor Flav made a appearance.
Oh,
He made an appearance in one of the local restaurants in Raleigh, and then apparently William Shatner made an appearance at a barbecue joint. And then to go with that, after the wedding of the century, or what they're calling the wedding of the century, Mama Kelsey. So Travis Kelsey's wife was in Raleigh at some restaurant as well. So we have Mama Kelsey was here like a week or two after the big wedding and everything. So I guess she was spending some of that money that she still got left after the wedding of the century and everything like that. But she got to take care of her sons because I think she got 2 or 3 kids that play football. Yes, Travis,
uh-huh.
Jason, and I think there might even be a third one. But yeah,
Okay.
Bailey, Donna Kelsey. So Mama Kelsey, as they call her, is was in Raleigh as well. So she was hanging out in Raleigh.
Well, that's awesome. All right now. So there. Okay. So the celebrities were here. All right.
The celebrities were popping into Raleigh of all places.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I
Hopefully.
think Chadden was here for a Comic Con, like one of those comic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I know people who go to those. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Flavor was here because Public Enemy was opening for Guns N' Roses, or they were doing a
And didn't he
joint
vote for
concert.
Trump the first time?
Huh? I
The
think he
Flavor
was a
Flav.
Trump. I think he was a Trump backer. I'm gonna look that up because I think Flavor Flav might have been. Got some of these crazy black folks that decided to vote and support
Well,
stuff
they're
like
trying to look out for their taxes, and
that.
like y'all crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up because just really quickly, did Flavor Flav back Trump? Because I know there've been some crazy folks that back Trump, and you sitting there going like, why? Why did you back Trump? Because Trump said that he's a big fan of Michael Jordan because he and Michael Jordan play golf together. He said he made some quote. He made some quote that he thinks that LeBron James is a racist because LeBron James doesn't like him and
I
everything like
saw
that. So
that.
he made some crazy quote, but he likes Michael Jordan because he and Michael Jordan play golf, and he doesn't think that Michael Jordan is a racist and everything like that. So
That was hilarious. LeBron, not that he doesn't like Trump, but that he's a racist against white people. Because I'm pretty sure LeBron James hangs out with white people.
I mean, he's on the basketball team, and don't they have white and black people on the basketball team?
Yeah. So what are you talking about?
I mean, so did
I
they
have
make no
never
sense?
heard of a racial incident with LeBron
I
James.
have never heard of anything. I mean, he grew up in Cleveland, which is, he got his own hood.
Yeah.
But I also understand he supports his boys from the hood because he grew up, and I
Exactly.
that some of his
Exactly. And
managers.
he started that school right up there,
Mhm.
but the school had African American and Hispanic children. So what are you talking about? It's interracial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just really quick. I'm typing this in really quickly. Well, not as quick, but I
Okay.
thought it was good. Flavor Flav does not support Donald Trump, and he
Okay.
publicly mocked his political rhetoric and defended targets of his policies. So Flavor Flav publicly pokes fun at Donald Trump's unverified debate claims regarding pets in Springfield, Ohio, joking on social media that artists with animal-themed names like Snoop Dogg and Pitbull should lock their doors. He explicitly denied rumors of supporting Trump in the past, stating flatly, F Trump when addressed online speculation regarding his
Good.
political
Yes.
career. And he voiced
Okay,
support
Flavor
for
Flav.
Selena Gomez after she faced backlash for an emotional reaction to Trump's mass deportation plan. So most users on Reddit expressed a consensus that past internet rumors regarding Flav's politics caused confusion because they seemed at odds with Public Enemy's historically anti-establishment trance, though Flav has clarified his views. So it looks like he's not a big fan of.
Okay, so somebody meshed him in with the rest of them. I'm glad to hear it.
They probably messed him in with the rest of them,
Mm-hmm.
all along those lines. He did say, now on the flip side, I guess last year he did say that it was an honor to be invited to the White House, a memory that he will never forget and will always cherish. So apparently
Okay.
he did go
Okay.
and visit, and that might have been part of where that came from. But apparently he's not the biggest fan and
Okay.
everything like that. So
Well, he said F him, then that's good. That's good enough for me. You go get your trophy. Get your invitation back.
He had a message, and this was a week ago, for Trump during the as she weekend that kicked off in Las Vegas and everything like that. So apparently it wasn't a favorable message and everything like that. So apparently he was not saying favorable things about Trump at the she weekend and everything like that.
Yeah, Trump be doing too much. He just, oh God, he get on my nerves. And so I'd be glad when he's out. But anyway, all right, well, that's good to know. I have a more positive view of him now. Because I was like, y'all out here vote for that fool. Trash in the White House. There's trash in the White House. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, Baba.
We're going to get out of here. We got a couple of these
Okay.
commercials. We'll get out of here, but always fun to see you and have these
All right.
discussions and everything like that. But yeah, you gave some great history, and I loved hearing about Cuba and everything like that, because I remember watching the boxers, and I used to love the Cuban boxers, even though we would sometimes have a hard time with them Cuban boxers when we would be having those Olympic fights, because those boxers did not play. They were hard to beat, and some of those Cuban track runners were hard to beat too, because I remember a couple of sports that we had a hard time with them, and definitely boxing was one of them, and track was another one. So they used to give us a run for our money, to say the least.
Yes. And they still are here, but now I understand why America's so mad at them, because they're like, "How dare you fight and win? Get us out and then outdo us."
They mad at Cuba. They mad at Haiti for that exact same.
Exactly. That's what they said.
They mad at Liberia. They mad at any country that
yeah,
got off the shackles of oppression. So
exactly.
Like,
they tripping.
Y'all supposed to be oppressed. Y'all supposed to stay oppressed.
Yes.
And
How
folks are
dare
like,
you? How dare you?
Cool. So, Mama Noni, we'll get ready to get on out of here.
Alrighty.
Next week and everything like that. You didn't make it to dance class. Hopefully, I'll see you next week.
You know what? It's the first week. I ain't even gonna have no excuses. I'm gonna get there, but it's just gonna be when I get there, because I be trying.
I know you be
I be trying. I be trying, man. But anyway, okay.
All
right.
Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye bye.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
They were never supposed to win. In a system built to keep black families landless, one decision changed everything. Bitter Ground's Inheritance tells the true story of heirs who fought through Jim Crow, courts, challenges, and silence to claim land, wealth, and legacy. Told by descendant Captain Newborn, this is more than a story, it's a rare victory. A must-read that exposes America's hidden past. Get your copy today.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I walk into the sound of drums.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I know my mom.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I can play the drum.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I can work with my hands.
I'm a St. Sya student.